Hello, this is Puleng from Worship House. Tulula Otobo. You are tuned into the number one radio station, the Kasi Heartbeat, Leandra FM.
Zita ta 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 ta. City hela la hela la hey hela. Sanbonani. This is Pastor Sebenzuza, umama wezitata. Nilalela umsakazo ohamba phambili kakhulu the Kasi Heartbeat, Leandra FM.
Yes, that was Nyiko saying Mukutsuri. I hope I pronounced that very well. And you've just heard the voice Mama Pastor Sebenzuza. Just to remind you, which on the 24th, it's such a back with a live DVD recording. I hope we will be there because Leandra FM will be there. The tickets are not so expensive, guys. VIP is just 200 rands. 200 rands gets you a VIP seat in Pastor Sebenzuza's live DVD recording. And the greatest thing about being on that VIP section is the fact that you will be rubbing shoulders with the likes of the Duke _ on radio. just saying. Anyway, tonight it is a special night, and I'm back on air, guys. It's my first day this week being on air. I do apologize for the past 2 days. Personal reasons, not bad reasons, good reasons, which I cannot share for now. But I will be sharing later. Tonight we've got Nyiko Mkhari. I will not say much about him because this is the day that the Lord has made so that he can get to introduce us to himself. Nyiko, how you doing, my brother?
I'm blessed to be alive with such a life that we have in the country and in the entire world. So it's a blessing to be present. And how are you?
The Lord has kept me. The Lord has been good. The Lord has been faithful. Utu Paul, in everything, be grateful. In everything, say thank you. So, amen. Yeah, so let's get to it. One would ask a question, because I know a lot of people will be asking, who is this guy? So, if you were to be asked that question, who is Nyiko Mkhari?
Nyiko Mkhari is just a tall guy born of two giants of faith.
Okay.
My father is a pastor. My mother, she's a minister of the word. Her entire life she has been serving God in the train ministry, bus ministry. And I was born in a town called in the 80s, the second after the zero. Actually, on Sunday it was my birthday.
Oh, happy belated!
Thank you so much. So I was raised in a church family, but I was raised by a single parent, which is my mother. From a young age, growing in the streets of Katlehong, we moved to Katlehong after they separated with my father. That's where she raised me under her guidance and also under the ministry of Assemblies of God. So I've been a child in the kingdom of God, serving and waiting for such a day for me to give me a call.
Wow, interesting. I'll tell you two things that are interesting.
Yeah.
One is the fact that I'm from Assemblies of God, and secondly is the fact that I was born and bred in Katlehong, a Twala section.
Is it? I'm
Yeah.
in Tiluma View.
Oh, okay, S7.
Yes, so we are just kilometers away from me.
Yeah, I used to drive there, but angazi ngijole Sluma, yes. Anyway, asikho lapho. So you growing up ekasi eli rough kanje and you were choosing gospel. Yes, you are born in a church family, but why did you choose gospel?
It is quite an interesting one, and maybe it will take us the whole night, but let me sum it up to you like this. So I'm a born worshipper first, and by choice I'm a worshipper of God. So there's a word that says they that worship God should worship Him in truth and in spirit. So spirit is God, and the Holy Spirit is God in action. Truth for me, these are experiences, what you have seen God doing for you in your life. And my life has been a miracle, one after another. It has been a testimony from being sick, seeing God healing me as a child, from being involved in accidents and seeing God putting His hand, stretching His hand to save me. So I have lived a life full of God in my life. Besides that, I was just an ordinary person going to church, but I have been experiencing things that God has been doing in my life, and also growing in a church, and also when I started singing, I was in Sunday school actually. I was discovered by my Sunday school teacher. So we're singing this song. I said, "Imini yogukulula ungakulula," and she said, "There's a person who's singing alto so nice. Who's this person?" I was so scared that day. She made us sing one by one. That's when she discovered me. I said, "Wow, this is the voice." And from there, I got the lamplight, and gospel has just been in my blood. I'm sure if you can take me for DNA, you see Christ in my blood.
Amen.
Yeah.
Interesting, my brother.
So,
okay, can carry on.
So that has been my life since the age of 7 in Sunday school. So I grew up singing gospel, and remember, gospel is good news, right? And being it good news, and God being love, it has summed up my life. There was nothing else I could tell people about except for what God has done in my life. And also, most of my writings and my music, they are all of encouragement, restoration, and bringing back Ikemba. It doesn't matter what you are going through, God is alive. And also putting my testament into writing to say, whatever song that I'm writing, some are experiences that I've been through in my life. There's a song, I've recorded this song in early 2008. I actually wrote that song in an ambulance.
What?
Yes, I'm telling you the truth. I wrote that song in an ambulance. I got an accident. I was working for this company. I'm not sure if I should name call the company, but traveled to and from province. So we went to Durban this one time. So our truck capsized. So people were living in South Africa. I'll send you the pictures after this interview, so that I validate what I'm saying to you and giving you testament of what God has done in my life. They were asking, where are these people who were inside that truck? And we said to them, here we are. They were so amazed because we came out unharmed. And when we got into the ambulance, this song just came into my mind. I took out my phone, recorded the song.
Wow.
So most of the songs that I write, they are about my life. I titled the album "Fullness of My Time," from the scripture of Galatians chapter 4 verse 4. There has to be events that happen in one's life before God can show up and do things that He has promised to you. In this instance, he was talking about Jesus being born of Mary. There had to be events that had to happen before Christ was to come on earth. So, and when I recorded this in 2008, I then something said to me, don't release this yet, because remember I named it "Fullness of My Time," and God said to me, it's not yet fullness of your time. You should understand first, when you say fullness of your time, it's after all these trials and tribulations have come and passed in your life, where you lose hope, and I come back at the fullness of your time to stand against all odds. And when you have nothing else you can depend on, you have nothing else you can do, to say, Remember what I spoke to you 15 years ago. Here I am today to restore whatever the devil has stolen in your life. Here I am to show off with your life. So gospel has been my life. In church, outside church, me and God are just one.
Wow.
I talk to him like a friend. Just now, my mother got a stroke, right? So I was saying to God, and this is one prayer she has been praying for. She was saying, God, if anything, when you remember, please, may I not be a trouble to my children.
Sure.
May I go in one piece. Right? So here it is, 31st of May, I lose my job. On the 5th of June, she has a stroke.
No.
And something kicked into me to say, well, I lost my job so I could full time take care of my mother. But my prayer was to God, and this, I was not closing my eyes when I was saying this prayer. I was talking to God like I'm talking to my mother. I'm talking to a friend. I'm talking to someone and saying in front of my eyes. To say, God, if you are a God that sees and you are a God that has ears, you hear, this woman has been serving you and faithfully so. And she has raised me to serve you rather faithfully so. And she has dedicated my life to serve you. This one time she dedicated me to Assemblies of God and said, this child, I'm dedicating him to serve in the church, in the ministry, as a worshiper. And I'm saying, God, she had prayed for one thing. I know there are many things she has prayed for. She did not get to her old age. Even today, she has not yet received God. But if there's one thing that I want you to show up and really show off, that God who was walking with her, please do not take her in this state, because then your name will be in vain, and I will doubt your name even after. A person who has walked with you for so long, and her request was just that, when you remember me, God, let me be in one piece. And here she is struggling, oh God. If you are a God who is out there, show up and do something, or else my contract lapses today. My contract lapses today. She was healed. That's why I'm saying to you, my life has been a testament, one after the other.
Sure.
This is the woman who taught me fasting at the age of 6. I remember I didn't even understand what fasting
so that was not fasting. That was her saving food. You were eating too much.
You know what I said lately when she said to me, you need to go into fasting. I said, wait, ma'am. The years that I fasted when I was 6 years old, not know what I was fasting for. God must have cut the pace that fasting for this one.
That's a good one.
So my life has been really full of goodness.
Wow.
The anointing of God resting upon my life.
Wow.
Just in awe. I'm in awe of how amazing God has been in my life,
You've said a mouthful. Yeah, indeed, your life is a testimony. I think you've covered all the questions I had for you. So now I just want us to maybe quickly jump into what brings us here today, your music. So when do you start recording? Yes, you are singing at church and all that, but when do you decide, you know what, now I need to start recording?
That has been my dream since I was a boy, to say one day I need to record. Yes, I've been recording songs one after another, but kept them safe. Because I believe in new revelation. Remember, he says in his word, he's going to give us new songs. I believe each and every season has got its own song, has got its own revelation. And in my early 2000, I was discovered also by the late soul rest in peace, Date Moagi from the Val. This is a giant in the music industry. Just to name a few prominent artists like your Navy was discovered by this guy. So most of the prominent artists from Val were discovered by this gentle soul. And that is where my ministry of worship has been polished to say, beyond a good voice, there is a life of a worshiper, there is a character of a worshiper. Remember, Melebasbone and Kambo, which is Bona Abali, Unabo, Nendela, Ismilo Setu Esingai. So that's when it was polished. That was a recording group, so I recorded with them then. But starting to record my own music, I started 2008. So also, I had started working on my latest project 2019. COVID hit. I am still in studio, and I've got a single out called Calvary. So I am working on a project now, and I'm busy with it, and I believe it's gonna touch a lot of lives.
Okay, so tell me about Calvary. Why the song? Why did you decide to record this specific song, and what inspires you about the song?
I wrote the song, but I was inspired by the life of Christ. Everything started at Bethlehem of Judea and ended in Calvary. So the main goal, or rather the journey of Christ, was Calvary, to redeem our souls. So remember, good news. And also, when you speak to one who does not know Christ and you preach to them and they want to receive Christ, they should first believe that Christ died and he rose again. And he died on the cross to save us. So remember, I said to you, my goal is to preach the gospel. So all the songs that I'm writing on Calvary was just inspired by that, to say the power of the cross and Calvary is still the same even today, to redeem you only if you believe and see the love of Christ at Calvary.
Wow. Okay, just before maybe we wrap up, tell me about your future plans. What are your future plans? What are you working on? I know you're working on a project, but your time frames and all that. What's the big thing that's coming and you're saying, okay, this one I cannot wait for?
Yes, the next big thing that is coming on the 1st of October, a brother of mine, JC Hatele, he has called me in to be part of his live recording, so he's featuring me in his album. I'm looking forward to that, and I know there are limited seats, about 50. So it's a very intimate session where everyone who's going to come there is going to feel like they are part of that. Even the theme of the day will be dressed all in white. We are angels on that day. So I'm so looking forward to that, and I believe the God that has walked the walk with me will be there on that day. I'm so anxious to see what He's going to deliver through me on that particular day. So if you are available, my brother, join me. Let's go and ourselves.
I never thought I'd get to this point in my life where I'd say, I'll check my diary. I'll check my diary and get back to you. Now, you've just mentioned you've just mentioned something very interesting, which you're sharing a stage with someone. What would be your interesting or a stage moment you'll never forget
too. One time I was graced by being an opening act for Pastor Solimasha.
Sugema.
I was dressed up. I wanted to impress, dressed up all well in my suit and all. Went in and sang my heart out, poured my heart out, and worship God. So afterwards, then I went out. She was on stage. She started his repertoire, and I went and changed and wore my vest like in a casual dress coat. He then said, "Where is that tall guy who opened our phone?" I'm like, okay, now the dress code is not appropriate. What am I going to do? And they said, here he is. There's no time for me to go outside.
Oh my word.
I want to show you something as well. When you said also, you asked me a question about the time frames. The things of God, they don't go according to our time frames and our plans and time. God just show up when you want to show up. And he said, come forth. And I went on stage, dressed the way I was. Yeah. And he started singing and said to me, imitate what I'm singing. I imitated what he sang and gave it also my personality. And then he was in awe of what was happening. And then he took the mic away and he started to speak in my life. That is the reason why I'm saying I'll never forget this one experience I had. He started speaking to my life without everybody even hearing. And he said to me, when God opened the doors for me to be who I am today, it had to take me 40 years of my life. Today, I was so happy and saying, excited before when he called me to say, this is an opportunity for me. Yeah. And he will recognize me. After this, I'm going to be seen on television and all over. And he said to me, today, there's absolutely nothing I can give to you, or I can promise you, or I can say I will open doors for you. But stay in the lane that you are in. I find no fault in what you are doing. I believe in the gift that God has given you. But I'm not that person sent by God for you. It pains me so much. But after some years, it made sense. And I actually valued what he had spoken, because many people would have easily said, I'm going to connect you with so and so. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But he spoke what God told him to speak on that day. That's why I said to you, I waited all my life for you to call. Because I believe this is the beginning of the thing. I wish you will save this in your archives to say one day, and I'm telling you this on record, one day you're going to see me all over, wherever you wish to see me. And you will attest to this day that I gave this guy his first interview, and this is what he spoke. That's why I love keeping record of all the events that are happening in my life, so that some other things, when you testify about them to people, they don't make sense. They sound like gimmicks for you to get attention from people. So that is the moment I will never forget.
Wow.
And also, my call to the ministry has never been about money and all that. Gracefully, God has been that God who says, look at the birds of the air. They lack nothing, but their Father gives them whatever they need. So when you meet me, you perceive me as one who has everything. Not because I have everything, but the grace of God has covered my face all my life. But if you go deeper, you see, oh, this person needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, does not have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm saying to you, my calling into the ministry of God, or into the gospel, or as an artist, a South African gospel artist, It's not about making money, but it's about me calling people into the kingdom of God and also encouraging them, giving hope to the hopeless, and also healing to those who need healing. There is power in the spoken word, and power is in the tongue.
Wow.
So I still believe in what the man of God spoke in my life on that day. Even to this day, I'm holding on to that prophetic word. So that is the experience I'll never forget in my life.
Okay. My last question. What or who would you like to be remembered as when you are gone and the Lord has recalled you? Who would you like to be remembered as?
You know, this question brings tears to my eyes, wondering. I've pondered a lot on that over the years and to say, but God, you have not yet put me in the platform where I would be able to touch people's lives in a bigger scale. Of course, I have been touching lives thus far, but I need that a spotlight to shine your light. And I want people to remember me as that one person who has touched someone's life, and that one person who has added value to one who was thinking my life amounts to nothing. After hearing my story and my testimony, to say, oh wait, if Nyiko went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he had been sick and he got healed. You know, there was a time where I literally went crazy. I want to show you one thing that made me believe in the God of my mother. You know, and through the ministry that she had, I was healed. And I want to touch somebody's life to that extent to say, even when I'm at the lowest of my lowest, I don't see at the end of the tunnel. They would say there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I cannot even see the end of the tunnel. But after hearing him speak into my life in song like that, oh God, I can go back to you and say, you are God of me. I want to touch people's lives, to leave an impact. And after generations and generations, I want my music to be classical, to be unseasonal. Like even if I'm gone after 50 years, when someone goes into the archive, they play one of my songs and they will say, this song is so fresh, it's like it was recorded yesterday, but this person has been long gone 100 years. This is one thing I want to be remembered by.
Wow.
Touching somebody's life, impacting them for a change, making them better people for tomorrow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Any last words, my brother?
Wow. I would like to appreciate God for this opportunity, and yourself, Bob Marcel, and all the listeners of your show, to say, if there's something God has promised you will never die until it comes to pass. You will never die. You will never go blind before you can see what God has promised you. The promised land, ikanana lelunkulunkulu akutshele ngalo uzongena. Angeke ufane na those old people who were told you will not enter, but you will come the Canaan. Because there are two things to God fulfilling the promise. Because of your disobedience, He will take you to your promise, but and then say, but you won't enjoy the promise. But because I promised you, here's the promise. You will see it happening, but you won't enjoy the fruit of your promise. And I'm speaking to somebody's life to say, you will enjoy that promise, that which God has promised you. Remain where He has placed you. Remain faithful in your call. Remain faithful in your position. Never envy what God is doing for others in their season. Celebrate them. The more you celebrate others, the more you attract they say things that are alike, they attract one another. If you are a happy person, you'll attract happy energy. It's like anointing and anointing. If you are anointed, my brother, you are like a magnet. So you attract anything that is metal. It's up to you to separate that which is valuable against that which you don't need. So my last word is to say, hold on to the promises of God. Hold on to His word. Even as we go through what we're going through, the COVID as a country and as the world, this does not mean it's the end of the world. No, it can't be the end of the world before God has done what He has promised. And this is just the beginning of a testament. This is just the beginning of somebody's dream. Keep on dreaming. Keep on believing God for bigger things in your life.
Amen. All right. How do we get hold of you if we want to book you and all those social media?
Amen. My other name is Remember. Do you know that? That is why you'll never forget.
Punchline. You punched me here.
One teacher of mine at primary school always said to me before I can answer a question, remember those who died. So even to this day, those I went to school with, they still mock me with that. So if one wants to get hold of Nyiko Remember, they can get hold of me on my Facebook page. You just type in Nyiko Mkhari. Instagram is Nyiko Mkhari. And can I give out my digits?
Yeah, you can.
My contact number, you can get me on WhatsApp. You can call this number as well. It's 082 090 1176. And my email address is Nyiko RM, the number 3 @gmail.com.
All right. That was Remember Mkhari, also known as Nyiko Mkhari. Giving us a state of worship address. And if you missed this interview or if you logged in late, you can get it tomorrow morning on our YouTube channel, Leandra FM channel on YouTube. You will be able to get hold of this interview. My brother, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your testimony. I think this interview was more based on your testimony than your music. So thank you so much. I think a lot of people got encouragement from that.
Thank you, sir. My testimony and my music are one thing. But
Amen.
let's sum up my full album to you by my testimony.
Amen. Okay, that was Nyiko Remember Mkhari. And